The last of our topics for today's presentation was an overview of the pack. So the pack is public, which means you can get to it from the open web. Our pack for your regular pack is currently cat-train.sasklibraries.ca/Polaris. The mobile pack for handheld, smartphones, etc., tablets is, instead of Polaris, it's /mobile. So I'm going to go to regular pack, and I'm going to minimize this. And let me actually I'm here already. So here's your regular pack. I'm here already. So let's talk about the pack. So I'm going to start out from the portal page. So this is your main page, and here what you've got is a quick search intake area. We have tabs at the top. We have your home page. You guys are not enabling branch switching, so I don't see a choice to change branch here. That's okay. So you're going to have your own logo here. If you guys are interested in how Polaris packs can look, there's this really great tool called Polaris.com. So if I go to PolarisDiscovery.com, it's basically a tour of different library catalogs. Or you can see an A to Z list of all of them, or by tag, or by location, or by different types of nation. My favorite way to go with this is by tag. So if I go by the particular types of things, so let's look at some public libraries that are being, or consortium. Here's consortium. You guys might be interested in that. So we'll look at catalog. So here's the Black Gold Cooperative Library System, the Finger Lakes Library System, Phoenix Library, Pinnacle. These are all live. And here's another one, Canada. Here's Track. So if you go to their catalog, you can see, they are allowing branch switching, which you don't, but they have their logo, and their logo incorporates the name of the library, so they are suppressing. Actually, they're not. They did not suppress the library. This is coming from Polaris, and this is their actual logo. They have only a couple things. This is a dashboard. They are not starting you at their portal. They don't use a portal. They're going right into the keyword search. If we go back, we can see. Let's just poke around real quick, and then we'll come back to yours. So we'll look at the Phoenix Public Library catalog. This is in Arizona. It's a consortium. So here's a photo that incorporates their name. So they have suppressed any Polaris labeling. They put their own HTML for sign in and ask us. Here they've got a quick search with a limit by location, and you can pick the location. They are also enabling branch switching. When you pick search here, it pulls down the list of different types of searches, and you can see that there's that same sort of site map at the bottom. So if we compare this to yours, for example, obviously you're going to put your own logo in, but you've got all the same elements. You've got the site index at the bottom. You've got the tabs at the top, and you can be in English or French. So if I go to French, then the tabs are in French, the instructions are in French, the labels are all in French, and these can be customized using the web admin interface. I'm going to go back to English because I'm uncomfortable in French. I don't speak French well. There's a large text function. This just makes it bigger. I like to go large text when I'm demoing, so I'm going to stay in large text and just make everything bigger. Pretty much does the same thing Control Plus does. The kids catalog is a scoped version of the catalog for children. We'll come back to this, but let's just take a look. My favorite theme, I think you're in Treasure. I like Ocean myself. So here's Ocean, and we can look at Antique since we're looking at them. oceans because I like to be on. So here we can see, they have a quick search and they can search for things. So let's say they want to look for elephants. They can do that as a subject. They can do that as a title, series, author, fiction or nonfiction. If let's say they're needing nonfiction for a paper for school. So then nonfiction about elephants. Very simplified display. More is the equivalent of full records. So more will give you more of the record. It's working on it. So here, and then it gives you the availability. Okay. Save this for me is hold, basically. The equivalent of placing a hold, and then you put your barcode and password in, and that's basically submitting a request. So at the bottom of the screen, there's usually a link to go back to the Polaris catalog. Some people reword this to get back to the adult catalog or back to the regular catalog, and that brings you back out of the children's catalog. It actually brought the search with it. So elephants, it's got nonfiction only, which is really interesting. So I don't even know how, that must have been a more search. How did we do that? That just came over. That's actually not in. Is that an option over here in the portal? Let me just see. You have that option here under nonfiction. So if we did the same search and we said nonfiction, so then we're getting that same result. If I want to do a new search, I can go to search, and then I could do any of these other searches. So back to library info though for a minute before I start in with all the searches. We'll go to the portal. So you're not showing hours of all the branches here because you're not allowing branch switching. So this is just a system-wide, showing the system-wide view of everything. So people could do very broad searches. Excuse me. They can do very broad searches. They can do very tight, author searches. For example, I could put in Lessing, Doris, May, and say I want that as author. It's actually doing it as keyword any field because I clicked, but I'm going to say author now and say go. So now it's putting me into search results. We've got the Google, so if we click on that, Google, and bring you to this book so you can see the cover art and we can actually poke around and read some of it if we want to. So if I wanted to do maybe an advanced search, let's say I wanted to go down to advanced. So here I could put in an author field, Lessing, and in the title field, I want to put in Shikasta. So now we'll say go. And you only have one instead of getting a bunch. Here's Lessing's Canopus and Archives, Science Fiction, one of my favorite books ever. Here we're seeing local availability 1 of 1 and system availability 1 of 1. We're in the brief display. A full display, I can click full display. And here we're seeing more of the bib record. And what is in here can be completely based in system admin on what's called the title display configure power pack profile. If I want to place a request, I can place a request by clicking place request. And if I come down a little bit, scrolling down, I can see availability. And the library view is a marked view of the record. Some places turn that off. There's a little sort into the librarian's view. If I click on type of material icon, it's going to launch the librarian's view in a little shadow box. So therefore, searches, I'm going to return to the list, And I want to do research than this, so I'm going to, and you'll notice a couple things here. So here we're seeing related searches and recent results. Let's do a broader search. Let's put in subject science. Oh, not series, it's subject. Subject, and let's put in science. Still got one of one. Okay, not Lessing. Let's pick somebody else. Okay. So here we got 228 items, and if I scroll down, they're being sorted by relevance. And being at relevance, you do give up a little bit of granularity. If I were looking, for example, for a specific edition of something, I might not choose relevance as my sort. I might choose title then publication date or title then format to get a more organized display. So if I had done, for example, Rowling, and I had done Harry Potter, let's do title Harry. Oh. So I might then choose to do this by title then publication date or title then format in order to get a more usable result. So I'm going to go on that. So when I don't sort it by relevance, oh, that's interesting. Here we got the audiobook for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and then we have another one, separate record. Then we have one's the ebook and one's the the books look like ebooks. One's the audiobook. Then we have another web-based one, and probably getting into the print ones. I'm seeing 10 per page. I can change that. So I could see, 30 or 50 per page. Let's see 50 per page. And so then if I scroll down a bit to the print stuff, so video discs, and now we're starting to see different editions. So it's by year. And so then they go in the same order. But it's just not quite as haphazard. However, the dashboard gets really helpful when you're looking at these results. The dashboard is this little narrow your search dashboard along the side. And here, if I only wanted to see print items, I could click book. And now, instead of seeing all 69 of those, I'm seeing just things that are books, and then they should be subarranged by publication date, and then are being arranged. So now I'm just getting a random. So I might want to change. Now I might do title then publication date. So here they're all books now, and by publication date and title. So when we get into the English language stuff, the most recent stuff, the top, and then it goes down from. Then it's grouping by title as well. So all the different houses are together with the most recent one on top. Other things you can do with the dashboard. So if I did just book, I'll take book off. It's everything again back to, the whole huge list of 163. And then if I wanted to, I could scroll down a little further. I could scope for these subject facets, and there are more. These are all the subject headings in all 163 records that were retrieved by my initial search. So here by authors, so now if I only want ones, I can click that, and then all the others will be out of the picture, hopefully. So now we won't have teacher guides, hopefully, for this. Publication date, there's chronological order, and it shows you the number following the publication date is the number of results. So you can see if I pick 2002, I'm only going to be looking at 3 items. So here we're looking at 3 items that were published in 2000. Popularity is very useful initially because you're not live yet. So this has the circulation, number of circs in the last 90 days. So things that are very popular go high, and things that are medium, those are all described in the public access admin guide, what the rankings are. But they're all skewed until you go live. Right now, it's really not getting you anything of interest. We have target audience, juvenile and pre-adolescent, which has to do with some disagreement in cataloging. And then finally, we can also limit to specific branches. So if I want to pick this up at Moose Jaw Public, I can click Moose Jaw Public. I will be seeing only the one. This is an audio disc that I can borrow from Moose Jaw Public. Right, so that's the dashboard, and you can see that the advanced search gives it to me in common command language. We have keyword, we have browse. Let's look at browse. So the browse search, you can browse by title, author, subject, or series. If we do a title browse, I'll do Harry Potter again, just because he's pretty reliable. This is a feature of Polaris, the breakout into physical materials. This is the browse list is an alphabetical listing of every heading. So these are the title headings, and they broke them out. So if I want to see just the DVDs, I can click on DVD, and now I'll see just the 8 DVDs with the title Harry Potter. Now this is where Harry Potter is a title, and here I'll just cheat and give you the interview, because that's obviously not the main title, so that's an added title. And you can see somewhere where we have a series title, Harry Potter, which is why we got that in that list, because the title is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm going to go back. So here you're seeing an alphabet. I can keep going forever. I can keep scrolling for the rest of my life alphabetically through your entire collection. Let's do an author in a browse. Do that. We will do, let's do Stephen King. So here, when you do an author in the browse, this is where you're going to see authority control coming into play. So we have C and C also. In this case, we have a C also for Richard Bachman. And here we have a C reference from a not used form, which is not hyperlinked, to the used form. If I click on the used form, it's going to take me to that heading, and then if I click on the heading, it will take me to those 2 works. We can browse search for subject. So here we're going to look for, let's look for wizards. So we have see also magicians and warlocks and wizards biography and so on. So again, we're seeing authority control here. And finally, series. And so here you're going to see series. This can be helpful when you're asked for a specific room. This is the correct form of all of them. So depending on your cataloging, you might find all of them there. But here, there's all 53 of them. So you can see you've got some splitting going on. Actually, probably not. Probably these are linked together because number 1 Ladies Detective Agency series has 53, and then there's a C reference to McCall Smith Alexander, number 1 Ladies Detective Agency series. These are just the recorded books, I see. So that's interesting. So if I were to click on this 53, it's going to bring me into all the records for all 53, and here we can limit more by format type or by other aspects. On the basic navigation of the catalog, the pack. Okay. So I want to look at some of the other searches. We looked at keyword and browse. Phrase is just like keyword, except the words are in order. So here if I do cooking Italian, I would not get any Italian cooking. So here I'm going to get 478. But if I said, and that's in any field, let's do it in a subject field, we should get nothing. Oh, excuse me, we get 475, excuse me, the other way around. So if I did an Italian cooking though, that's what it is. Italian cooking and by subject and say go, then I'm going to get just one that's really got an error in it. Or else it's got a subject heading in it that is not Congress, which could very well be. So here, yes, we're seeing BISAC, so Italian cooking, vegetarian cooking, but the Library of Congress is cooking Italian. So searching, so you get different results because the words are in order in proximity to each other. Advanced searching, we kind of took it before, but you can, if you're crazy and or not anything with anything, and if 4 intakes weren't enough for multiple terms and or knotted together, you could add in a whole other set and then limit it. You also have Boolean. A lot of people turn off Boolean. My recommendation is not to turn off Boolean because Boolean allows you to do certain things. So, for example, if I know that I need a specific record, and I know the control record number, so the number 1 Brazilian album's control record number is 666083, and I know that because I want to look at that specific record in the pack for some reason, I can say CN equals, and this allows me to do it. Now, the other thing is that if you do deep linking is when you take a URL of a particular search, for example, this whole URL, capture it and put it someplace else on another web page under like a link that people can click, like a clickable link of new books or a clickable link of record sets, for example, that you want to present and present. The code for that is BRS. So, for example, let's say I have a record set in here, cataloging record sets, so let's look at bib record sets and Control Shift A. These are mostly acquisitions right at this point, but let's just say that I wanted to pick one of these. So this is record set number 3. So I could come in here and say BRS equals 63, and that should get me to that bib record set. So this is that bib record set, which then allows you to do things, staff recommendations as a bib record set, putting it somewhere on your web page and saying, basically capturing this search and putting it as a deep link. So people click on staff recommendations and they get pulled into the pack and they get this search result. So I like to put it there, even if nobody is ever going to use it except librarians, because it allows that really good deep linking functionality. E-sources is databases that you configure, and you haven't done any yet, so databases available through your catalog. And lists. So when I'm patron and I'm searching, so let's say I'm doing search on science fiction. and I want to create a list for myself. So if I'm not logged in as a patron, I click list, and it makes a working list, so it's working on a working list over here in the dashboard. And I'll pick something else. Just do one more. So now I have 3 books in my list. From my working list, even without logging in, without identifying myself or logging in, I can actually email the list to myself. So, right, I could save it to a disk. I could print it. In addition to that, I can look at it in different ways. This is the brief bibliographic. But let's say I want to do Chicago Manual Style. Then I could email that to myself, or I could copy it and paste it, or I could look at it in a printer-friendly view, or I could easily copy and paste it and plunk it into my paper that I'm writing for school. Oops. Okay, there's also, the only 2 that we have are APA and Chicago Manual Style. I really keep wishing they would get MLA, but they don't have it. However, this is better than nothing, and I could look up MLA and deal with the differences if I had to. So if I don't log in, as soon as I leave this workstation, I lose my working list. If I do log in, I can save this forever. So if I log in right now, I'm going to log in as a patron. And I'm going to put in my barcode and my password and log in. So now it knows who I am, and I've logged in, and now it's a working list still, which means it's still transient. So now I could move it to a new list that I could create for myself. So I'm going to create a new list, move to a new list, and it tells me Homeland Security or others, law enforcement could, could subpoena somebody to get it, but I'm going to say okay anyway. My new list is going to be sci-fi for summer, SF for summer, and create list. So now I moved it. Now I'm in my sci-fi for summer list. And so now I'm going to go ahead and can't figure out where to put this thing. Going to go ahead and do the rest of them. So I'll go back to my working list, and now I'll just move the rest of these to sci-fi for summer, because my working list when I log out will be gone, but now my sci-fi for summer list is permanently there until I delete it or delete the items on it. So if I wanted to delete my list, I could right-click on it. Actually, that's not correct. If how do I do? I can delete the list right here. Delete list in the upper right corner. I can email the list to myself. I can remove items from the list as I finish reading them. I can keep it in whatever format I like. Maybe I like brief bibliographic because in brief bibliographic, if I want to, click on it and then see it in the regular pack instead of on my list, I can do that. So whatever I want to do. Lists are great also if you're going to use community profiles, because lists can be presented as content carousels in community profile records and in event records. So if you've gotten to that, good, and you'll know what I'm talking about it. If not, you'll see later. Other things patrons can do, since I'm a logged in patron now. If I do another search, let's say that I really love, let's say Lisa Scottolene. So and I do a search, and I find that I've read everything you have by her. So I've read everything you have, all 155. So then I can save my search. So if I save it, what happens now is, again, it warns me that someone could get subpoenaed and ask for this, but I'm going to look dangerously and say yes. So then I'm going to call this Scottolene. And here's my search. Here's where it's going to get emailed. Here's the format. I can do plain text or HTML. HTML will give me links into the catalog, will not. I'm going to do my search. I only want to get an email if there's something new found. And what happens is it knows the date that I did the search, and it knows the results of the search. So if a new thing is added to the catalog, even if it's an on-order record, I'm going to get an email that tells me there's something new, and that will let me place a hold on it right away so that when it comes in, I'll get it. Search frequency can be weekly or monthly. If it's monthly, I can go up to 100 times. Let's say that I don't want to do that. Let's say I just want to do this for 36. So for 3 years, I want to do this. If it was weekly, I might leave it at 100. That's about 2 years of doing the search. So when I'm done, I can say save the search. So I can have up to 100 saved search, and that's something that can be changed in System Admin. If you decided you needed more, I think that it's plenty more, plenty enough. If we look at my record, you'll see here's all the basics of my record. No messages. I can receive messages, so if a librarian needed to send me a message, they could do it from Leap or from the client, and they would probably do it on the patron status record. So I'll make a message here, which is going to be add a message, and it's going to be, there is no library assigned text, so I'm going to do a free text. Please okay. So now I've made a note here, and when I save it, this goes yellow, but if I refresh my view, let me just refresh my view here. So I'm going to just reload. Oh, I might have to log. I have to just maybe leave the screen and come back. What? I'll log out and log back in again because I want you to see that. There we go. So there's my message. My choices are with that. I can mark it as read or I can delete it. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it. So that the staff will see that I deleted looking, so they'll know that I read it. Contact information and preferences. I can make some changes based on your policies, address, whatever, my email address. When I'm done making, I hit the change request. It's probably going to go by email to, so for example, I could turn on maintain reading history for myself, then it would keep track of what I've read. I could set my preferences for email. I could say, yes, send me almost overdue, and do auto renew of reminder notices, or I could turn that off and say, don't send me those. When I'm done, I'm going to click submit change request. It's going to send an email. Actually, no, you guys go ahead and do it. So my preferences have been updated, maintain reading history. It's been done. Okay. To change my logon, I can actually give myself a nickname. So that would I would not have to remember or type in my barcode. And I could actually change my password as well. So this is where you run into trouble with patrons who've changed their passwords and then forgotten what they changed it to, and you have to set it back to like the last 4 digits of their phone number. Then they can come in here and they can say, change password, old password, and they'll put in the last 4 digits of their phone number, and then new password. They'll put in their new password. Okay, I can see my items out. So what have I checked out? And here are things that you saw something checked out through Leap. I have 2 renewals left. If I want to renew something, no renewals left, it's not going to let me. You'll see the checkbox is gone. But if I want to renew something that I have a renewal left, I can just check it and say renew selected or renew all. If it's not eligible to be renewed, it will not be renewed. Let's take a look at requests. Here are all my hold requests. So from the pack, I can do such things as to reactivate. So you'll see I have a bunch of inactive. Let's activate them. So today's date, 05/05/15. Oopsie, I need flashes. And then submit. So I've reactivated those. If I go back to my requests now, those just, okay, so fines and fees, if I have any overdues, I don't have any, but if I did, they would be here. If you've enabled, does not look like you've enabled a credit card, but it's hard to say because I don't have any fines and fees. Here's my reading history, but it has only been turned on as of today, so only things I take out after today will show up. And save searches, I have 1. So that's a quick look at patrons and PAC. Patron help is designed for end users. It's not technical. It goes into how to do all the different kinds of searches. Let's talk about narrowing searches. So I didn't talk about much about that. If we do a search, a fairly broad search, I'll do a search on the Beagle. Dog breed, I'll just do Beagle. I can search by subject heading. I can look by format type. So here we can see all formats. So if I said, let's say that I was only interested in, let's just say book. Right, so then I can go ahead and do that search. If I wanted to limit more, let's say that I was only interested in books about beagles, but I wanted them to be for juveniles, and I didn't want to use, there wasn't a limit by. There's some more search options here. I could, of course, limit use by the dashboard, and if you ask me personally, that is my preference to do it that way. So I could do there are 40. But I could also enter more search options, and in more search options, what I get is the choice to limit by branches, by publication dates. So here I could say I only want, stuff from 2012 on, and I'm holding down the control key. Say 2015. Detailed material types. These are all of the material types that you have in item records to pick. Target audiences is based on mark, or I could go by collection. So here I could go, let's say I want what only stuff that's in your juvenile nonfiction collection. So I'm going to pick juvenile nonfiction. And I only want English. Or I could exclude something, like I will take English or French but not German, for example. So then I would pick German and say exclude German. So I'm going to say set search options, and it's working on it. Come on. It's a little pokey. So while that's working, any questions, anybody? No? Okay. We're still working on it. Wow. That's very slow. I wonder if that's my internet. Could be. In a minute, I'm going to stop because this is a little bit too slow. Except I do want to show you this. This was not that many results. Wow. Kind of stuck here. I kind of have to wait this out. Obviously, I could close the window and come back to it. But I'm just surprised it's taking so long. Oh, finally. Phew. Oh, and it didn't take it. So it didn't, you would see this, let me just do one here. We're just going to do one thing. I'm going to say English only. And I'm going to say set search options. Look at that. We may have a glitch that we need to deal with. I'm going to show this to you in another catalog while we're waiting. So here's Phoenix Public Library. If I go over to quick to keyword search, we'll just do the same search. And we'll say that I want that as a subject. And I'm going to more search options here and see the choices. And I'm going to, let's say that I want it in some juvenile collection. Not children, but juvenile. Or YA, let's see. Okay, so teen, let's say that I want teen nonfiction collection. So that's what I want, and I want it in English. So we'll say search options. I'm thinking maybe this is me because it's so slow. This is not a very commonly used function, but I've never seen it behave this slowly, so I'm a little concerned about that. It might be my internet connection, perhaps. So, wow. Boy, I hope when you guys do this, it doesn't take this long. What version are they running? Oh, it's working. Okay, so it's working okay there. So it must be my internet connection. We're not going to wait. We're not going to wait for this. I'm going to try that. What happens when it happens is this changes when it gets set. It says reset search options, but for whatever reason, either my internet or something about the video conferencing, it's not doing it. So if you have a situation where it says reset search options, it means go back to 0, and that's important to do, otherwise they will be persistent. If I go to do another search, it should wipe it out. So, okay. Let's see. So we have covered all the searches. We've covered all the My Account stuff. We've looked at the portal. We've looked at dashboards. Is there anything else you guys are interested in? Okay. Well, I think we are pretty much past our time. We were scheduled for 2 hours from 12:30 to 2:30, and I have Eastern time. It's 4:34, which means it's 2:34 your time. So if there are no further questions, I'm going to just pop my email address up for you guys. Let's see, we'll do it here. It's lauren.tinsley at iii.com. You could email me if you have further questions. I am not sure I fully understood Harriet's question about creating item records and big records outside of acquisitions other than circulation. But you can do it in cataloging. You can do it from scratch. You can create templates for that, but that's kind of beyond the scope of what we were going to cover.